the Sports Betting Network.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gill Alexander on VSiN.
Good Monday morning to you. It's a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV. However you take it in, we appreciate it. It's Gill Alexander. It is Kelley Bydlon, producer number 9. So much more than a producer. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. You had a great football weekend, didn't you, betting-wise NFL?
Well, I haven't lost yet, so that's pretty good. That's not bad.
Hasn't lost yet.
I say yet, though, because Buffalo tonight.
Yeah, Buffalo tonight. I have Buffalo tonight pending. A 3-1 based on guessing lines reactions last week for me as well. So trying to get a second consecutive 4-1. That's why we do this exercise, people.
You know the regrets from this past weekend. It was the same old, why didn't I bet that bigger, or why didn't I make another bet or two that me and you talked all week about.
Which one was that?
Steelers.
Oh, I know. That wasn't the loss, though. The loss was the Broncos. For me,
yeah.
For me, that didn't work out. Sean Payton did the right thing at the end of that game. We'll get into all of that. If you're not familiar with this exercise, we look back at the previous weekend's games, but the point is to guess. I don't know the lines for the upcoming week. I'm in a cocoon. I guess them. Kelley tells me what they are. And within that exercise, we look to extract value. That first reaction has not only served us well here these last couple weeks, it's served us well for years and years here doing the National Football League. And then we have to endure 4 or 5 days of everybody else telling us we're wrong.
Right, yeah, or us overthinking things like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah.
Like the Steelers, that's right. But I replaced the Steelers with the Bucs, so that didn't end up mattering.
You know what, I did the same thing.
Yeah, so that didn't end up mattering. Before we do that, a Circa Survivor update real quick. This is the first week. Finally, it took 6 weeks. But finally, we have a week that does not have carnage. Only 5 entries of the remaining 221 headed into the week are gone. And that's where it will stand, because nobody's on the Bills or Jets tonight. Only 5 entries gone, so it's down to 216 out of the initial 14,266, which means the actual intrinsic value of each of the remaining 216 entries rises incrementally to $66,046.30. So there you go.
Ugh.
Congratulations to all. You survived a week without much drama.
It's going to be painful to just hear every week what the intrinsic value is up to.
Yeah. By the way, those 5 losses, 4 were on the Titans. 1 was on the Jaguars. Not the Jaguars, but the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think either the Jaguars or the Jaguars looked very good.
No, they kind of stink. They kind of stink at football. All right, you ready to do this?
Let's do it. Fire it up, baby. Guessing lines, week 7, coming at you.
And it goes a little something like this. No?
Cool.
There we go. I had all kinds of stalls. I had all kinds of stalls ready. And it goes a little something like this. Here we go.
All right, Thursday night. Yeah. Buckle in. Broncos at Saints.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Broncos
if you need a date night or something, that's pencil this one in this week.
Hey, I don't really have to watch football for you. Broncos at Saints. Broncos lose to the Chargé in a game which, Jim Harbaugh really didn't get to see the beginning of. He had a little bit of an issue. We're not really sure what, but we can speculate. This started with the Chargers deciding at the 1-yard line. This was Harbaugh not in charge at this point. It was a combination of Minter and Roman, their coordinators, and they decided to kick a field goal even though they're at the 1-yard line. So it was 3-0 Chargers. Next time they got the football, though, big 83-yard drive, Herbert to Kamani Vidal from 38, 10-0 Chargers. Then the next time they got the ball after a Denver punt, a 20-play drive, 20, Kelley, that resulted in a Cameron Dicker 33-yard field goal to make it 13-0. And then Javonte was hit by Khalil Mack. He fumbled it. Chargers got the ball back. Dobbins in from 4, 20-0. And then by halftime, they got another Dicker field goal, 23-0. By the way, the most incredible little stat was thrown out casually in this. Did you know that Cameron Dicker at this point, 23-0 Chargers at the half, 53 for 53 career inside the 50-yard line? Did you know that?
No, I didn't know those exact numbers, but he's been solid. He's been rock solid since he's been there.
I'd say 53 out of 53 inside 50
pretty solid.
Fairly solid. Denver then got off the schneid. This is in the second half now. 8-play, 95-yard drive. They had a 4th and 2 at the Chargers 39. Knicks to Devon Vele for 37. Then Troy Franklin from 2 is 23-7. This is 10 minutes left in the game now at this point. Chargers 3 and out. Denver 64-yard drive. Knicks to Sutton from 15 out. Great one-handed catch. 23-13. 2-point try fails. So again, the spread is in question at this point. Or at least now with a 2-point try failing, there could have been a backdoor push. Mm-hmm. And Denver did get the ball back. And then Sean Payton correctly, as much as I hate to say it, because I wanted the backdoor push, he correctly opts for the Lutz 40-yard field goal to cut it to 7 with 1:03 left, destroying the hopes of those of us who were hoping for a backdoor push. Onside kick fails after they did declare it. Ball game. Chargers win it 23-16, so the Broncos go down. New Orleans, in what was a just complete track meet against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Spencer Rattler's debut, his debut, if you will, Kelly, as a starting quarterback. Mm-hmm. Tampa Bay went up in this game 17 to nothing? No, pardon me, 14 to nothing. And then, they traded field goals. It was 17 to nothing, and 17 to 3. Okay, so they're up 17 to nothing, and the Saints came right back. Group A, 42-yard field goal, make it 17 to 3. Camarda's punt was returned by Rashid Shaheed, 54 yards, made it 17-10. And then Baker got picked by Paulson Adebo. That led to a Group A 29-yard field goal to cut it to 17-13. 9 minutes left in the second quarter. It's already 17-13. And then Tampa, second play on the next drive, Baker picked again by Jonathan Abram. And then the first play for the Saints, down 17-13, Rattler to Bub Means. You have Bub Means this week?
No, I did not, Gill. Nope, didn't start him in fantasy.
Yeah. 20-17 New Orleans, erasing the 17-0 deficit. There's still 8:37 left in the second quarter. Tampa Bay would come back with the drive. Baker to Tucker. Sean Tucker all over this game for 36, 24-20 Tampa. And then New Orleans behind Spencer Rattler. 7-play, 70 yards. Kamarian from 4. Big play to Foster Moreau for 41 right before that. 27-24 Saints as we go to the half, because Baker was picked off one more time before the half.
Which is just crazy.
Yeah.
If you ended up on the Bucks too. I was on the Bucks too.
Yeah.
That felt like the most stressful first half of betting ever because of all that. It was the Saints barely had the ball.
And then it was no pressure at all, because then the Bucks just tore them one in the third quarter, in the second half, starting in the third quarter. Tampa Bay, first time they got the ball, Baker to Godwin for 55. Terrible tackling on the play.
That was hilarious.
Tampa Bay takes the lead, 31-27. Later, New Orleans, first play, fourth quarter, Rattler picked by Zion McCollum. That led to a Baker to Otten touchdown from 8 out on a 3rd and goal. The 2-point try would fail. Earlier on that drive, Bucky Irving, an amazing 31-yard run, actually, to start that drive. So Tampa's up 37-27, 3 and out for New Orleans. They get it again. Irving in from 1 to end another drive, 44-27. Then Rattler was picked by Tyke Smith. And then on the final drive, up 17 points, the Bucks just said, you know what, we're going to give Sean Tucker the ball every time. Mm-hmm. Tucker for 36, Tucker for 3, Tucker for 0, Tucker for 12, Tucker for 8, Tucker for 5, touchdown. 51-27. That's how it would end. The Saints gave up, because we're talking about the Saints here, they gave up 594 total yards of offense.
Well, that doesn't sound great, Gil.
It's not really good. 594 to 303 in the total yards column. So this is Denver at New Orleans, two teams coming off a loss. This is kind of difficult. New Orleans cannot be a 3-point favorite in this game. This is hard. I'll say Saints minus 2.5, even with the rookie, but that's up against the Denver defense. I don't know.
Saints 1.5.
Oh, I'm not as okay. I was worried that I was going to be on the wrong favorite here.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
No, yeah. You're on the right favorite. This this is a game I don't think I'll have anything to do with. The Broncos have become a very tough team to handicap, in my opinion, because the defense is solid, and you don't know what you're going to get from the offense at all. And I would say that box score from this weekend is very misleading because of how dominant the Chargers were in the first half, and whatever you're going to give Bo Nix, it was all in garbage time in the second half.
It's funny you say that, because as I was watching this game, I had the thought that this is the most game script dependent team there is.
Yep.
In other words, if they go ahead, having that defense and having the ability to play conservatively with Nix is just is not a bad thing at all. You can actually make it work. But if you fall behind, Chargers are not, they're not the pick your favorite team of all time. They're not the 91 Skins, right? They're not that great. But yet, they're hard pressed to come from way behind.
Right.
And so I just feel that way about the Broncos. And so to your point, pre-flop, it's kind of difficult in a game like this. Because if I told you, and it's true of any NFL game, but specifically with these Broncos, the difference between them being up 7 or down 7, let's make it up 10 or down 10 at the half,
that's massive. Yes.
It feels monster with them, yeah. Okay, I don't love that game.
Yeah, we'll keep going. Let's go. We can get this one in London. Patriots versus Jaguars.
Patriots, can we get that in? I don't know if we can. I don't know if we really can.
Okay.
Let's see. Can we? Yeah. Well, I mean, Patriots lose to the Texans. There's not much to say about that game. Texans just they went out to a 14-0 lead, and it got to a point in that game where it was actually 14-7 at the half. It got close for a minute, but then once Houston took a 27-7 lead, they just traded touchdowns from that point on. 41-21 Houston. Drake May, not bad, 20 of 33 for 243, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. He was sacked 4 times, did lose a fumble. But the Patriots were -3 in turnovers. And then Jacksonville, what a dud performance in London.
Yep.
As the Bears took a 14-3 lead at the half. Jacksonville really, then it was 21-3. Jacksonville only got it to 21-10. And then they let Caleb go right downfield, 28-10. And then even after they recovered a fumble, Jacksonville, Trevor was picked right after that by Josh Blackwell. It ends up being 35-10. And then 35-16, some garbage points at the end. Trevor, 23 of 35 for 234 in defeat. New England at Jacksonville. You're right, that's all it needed. Jacksonville having the rest. They get to stay in London.
Yeah.
By the way, if they hadn't gotten to stay, I think Doug Peterson would have been fired.
I agree.
But because they stay there, he's okay for a week. -4. Jacksonville -4.
5.5 or 6 on the Jags.
Wow, that's a little too much.
I don't know if I have the stomach for the Patriots, though.
Do you want to wake up for that game? Patriots with a little lean, that's for sure. More guessing lines next.
Time. There's nothing more valuable. It's what drives everyone to make the most of every moment. We celebrate living large in the now. In a city where time disappears, we create experiences that electrify the soul and memories that will last forever. We go big, we go all night, and here, everyone is invited. So get loose and get loud.
This is Circa. You'll have the time of your life.
Coming up Monday on Follow the Money, a huge day in sports. We recap a wild weekend in the NFL and college. Bills, Jets, Monday Night Football. Yankees, Mets, both in action. Follow the Money weekdays, 4 to 7 Eastern on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Want to see who at VSiN is on a hot streak? Go to VSiN.com/picks to see all the selections and weekly leaderboard of VSiN hosts, writers, and guests. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber and get every pick sent to your inbox daily. Just head to VSiN.com/pro.
So, Paulie, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah, came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Bill's in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole nine, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's late night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
Numbers Game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Put the VSiN experts to work for you this football season and start betting smarter with a VSiN Pro subscription. Sign up on a VSiN Pro annual subscription today. Get your first year for only $199. Just use promo code ANG. That's all it takes. Get full access to everything we do. That includes daily best bets, top-rated betting systems, 24/7 video access, betting splits to show you where the money and bets are moving for every game, plus our all-new NBA betting guide. Remember to use promo code ANG, though.
ANG like a numbers game.
Like that. To get your first year of VSiN Pro access for only $199. Sign up today at VSiN.com/subscribe. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. We get tweets at Beating the Book. Let's see what the people are talking about. Best listeners in the game. Always appreciate it. Los Vegas 514. Yo, despite the loss by our team, we have a bright future and a lot to look forward to. New franchise quarterback, hopefully new stadium, and Gill finally saying just Commanders. Well, that last one's going to be tough.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if I've heard that much.
But yes, in defeat, this was heading into the Ravens-Skins game, which we'll get to in our course here, Guessing Lines. I said all last week, I was like, this is the one. We won't know anything until we see them play this team. And this is exactly the level that I think they are, which is they're probably on the fringe of the top 10, which is where I had them in power ratings, but they're not necessarily close. We'll see. I mean, they played very well yesterday, but defensively, they're not going to stop a team like that.
I think if you're a Commanders fan, I know this is tough to say in a loss. I was still impressed.
Oh, I was
still impressed.
I was totally pumped. I think every Commodores fan was. I absolutely do. Jay Kokstein, what do you think of a plus money bet on Quan or Lane Thomas to hit a home run this series? Seems like an insanely good bet to me. This series could go 7. Even if it doesn't, still looks good. Jay, I will not be on that bet. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just not something I'll get involved with. Did anybody catch? This has nothing to. By the way, we have a doubleheader today. Mets-Dodgers game 2 this afternoon from Chavez Ravine, and then game 1 of the Yankees and the Guardians, game 1 of the ALCS later today. Did anybody catch the beginning of the broadcast yesterday? Matt Vasgersian's voice didn't seem correct.
Really?
I don't know if it was modulated differently or if he was sick and they were doing something with it, but his voice was like 2 octaves lower than it normally is. It's very strange.
Oh, that's odd.
We love Matt yesterday. We love Matt. I don't know what they were doing with that.
I thought you were going to say, did anybody catch actual Game 5, the elimination game that was played on Saturday morning? Someone could have given me a heads up about it.
Oh, Guardians Tigers.
Yeah.
That was the Lane Thomas grand slam that did it for the Guardians. Put them ahead to stay against the Tigers in Game 5. What we have today is what has happened with the postseason. First of all of my matchups, poof. And remember, every time I said I go watch this be the year that the Yankees play the Dodgers in the World Series? This has gone from a great postseason to the Dodgers making a mockery of the National League. After they gave up 6 runs to the Padres in the 3rd inning of Game 3, remember, that was enough for the Padres to win that, take a 2-1 lead in that series. 33 consecutive scoreless innings. The Dodgers have not allowed a run in 33 consecutive scoreless innings. That matches the postseason record set by the 1966 Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles of 66 did all of that in the World Series. But that's how dominant the Dodgers have been. Shut out the Padres after the 3rd inning of that game, then shut them out in games 4 and 5, and then shut out the Mets in game 1 yesterday, 9-0. This is from NCI 95 Gambler. I was able to get Jaden Daniels Offensive Player of the Year 45-1 at FanDuel last week. He's thanking Cleve TA. Cleve TA likes Jaden for Offensive Player of the Year. Aaron Schatz does not like a quarterback for Offensive Player of the Year. One voter's opinion. And then Brian M. Peterson, talking about Doug Peterson, using half of his rest in London game planning, the other half looking at flats to just stay there after he gets fired when they somehow lose 16-13. All right, we'll get to more of your tweets coming up. More games here. Week 7 in the NFL. What you got?
All right, early window. This is 1 Eastern. Seahawks at Falcons.
Seahawks with the extra rest. They lose to the 49ers last Thursday night. Geno was 30 of 52 for 312 in defeat. They gave up 483 total yards to the Niners that night. They were -3 in turnovers. Atlanta, it's a game that sort of, the late window yesterday the afternoon window was kind of lame. Atlanta beat Carolina, in case you missed it. After Carolina took a 7-0 lead, Bijan in from 5 to tie it at 7, late first quarter. Carolina then went up 10-7. That would be their last lead, because then after that, it was Bijan in from 7 after Cousins hit Pitts for 52. They ended up with a 2-point conversion because of a penalty, a low block by Carolina on the touchdown run. So 15-10 at that point, 6:03 left in the second quarter. Carolina then got a punt blocked. Cousins to London from 3 after that, 22-10, and then Carolina was just in catch-up mode. But they were close. They ended up the first half with a Dalton to Xavier Leggett 7-yard touchdown pass on a 76-yard drive to cut it to 22-17. Then it was a field goal fest. It finally got to 28-20. So here's the you talk about when did you know the game was done kind of thing that people used to run. 28-20 Atlanta. Carolina with the ball, 1-score game. 2nd and 8 at the Atlanta 32. Dalton picked by A.J. Terrell Jr., and that was it, because then Atlanta went 9 plays, 85 yards. Algerian from 2, 35-20. That's how it would end. 38-20 is actually how it would end. Cousins 19 of 30 for 225 in victory. Algier 18 for 105 and a touchdown. Bijan 15 for 95 and 2 touchdowns. Atlanta hosting Seattle. I'll say Atlanta -3, because what else could you make this?
Yeah, you are right on. That is 3 at DraftKings. Did see some 2.5s out there. I think they mainly got gobbled up, though.
All right. So far, I like New England a little in all of this.
Yeah, me too. Not sure I'm going to bet it, but yeah.
Yeah, what's next?
Me too. All right, still in the early window. Titans at Bills.
Okay. Bills sight unseen. They play tonight again. Small favorite against the Jets. Both Kelly and I are on Buffalo tonight. Tennessee loses to Indianapolis. Indianapolis started 10 plays, 70-yard drive. Flacco to Downs for 22 touchdowns, 7-0. Then after a Tennessee 3-and-out, Indianapolis, Flacco 2nd and 10 at his own 36, picked by Amani Hooker. Tennessee turned that into a 3-play, 27-yard drive. Levis to Nick Westbrook-Akine from 9 out. We're tied at 7 apiece. 10-7 Tennessee, and then 10-10 at the half. And then the third quarter starts. Tennessee, 14-play, 70-yard drive that took 8 minutes and 41 seconds off the clock. Pollard in from 23 on 3rd and 19. Wow, what a sieve of a defense on that play. 17-10 Tennessee. 6:19 left in the third quarter. You're like, the Titans are going to win this football game.
Yep.
Not so much. Indianapolis, they got it to 1st and goal to 4. They had to settle for a Matt Gay 22-yard field goal to get it to 17-13 at the beginning of the fourth quarter. But then after another Tennessee 3-and-out, 11-play, 75-yard drive. Flacco to Pittman Jr. He wasn't even supposed to play in this game.
Yeah, that was weird.
He catches a jump ball in the end zone from 10 yards out. Touchdown, 20-17 Colts, halfway through the fourth quarter. Then later, after the teams trade 3-and-outs, Levis on 2nd and 9 at his own 31, picked by Julian Blackmon. Then after an Indianapolis 3-and-out, Tennessee would get the ball back at their own 3. Pitchy, woo-woo, goes nowhere, ball game. 20-17 Indianapolis. Levis, your boy.
Yeah.
16 of 27 for 95.
Hey, as long as he keeps throwing INTs, that's all I care about.
Yeah, well, he did. He threw 1 yesterday, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Only 241 total yards of offense for Tennessee. They also had 11 penalties for 113, which ain't good. They're not good.
No, they're not, because this Colts defense has been horrible, and if you couldn't do anything at home against that, that's bad. How do you feel about this Colts the Colts injury reporting that people seemingly had a pretty big issue with? Which I don't really know. It's just odd when it's 2. Right, because you had Anthony Richardson that it looked like he was going to go all week. It doesn't end up going. And then Michael Pittman with the back stuff where it thought he was going to be out.
We thought it was. We talked about it on the show earlier in the week that we thought he's out. I think if you're the Colts, you have a dilemma, right? We'll get to them, but I think you have a dilemma. It's like, are we trying to win football games or are we trying to see what the kid can do? Because I don't think there's any reason to say that if you say who's better for any one game right now, it's Joe Flacco, right?
Yep.
He's proven that. He's a Super Bowl champion. He had a nice 5-game stretch with the Browns last year. There's nothing really bad about his performance here in this victory again. I don't know what you do if you're the Colts. Are you trying to make this season a season, or are you trying to mess around?
Yeah. God, they are somehow 3-3.
Well,
that's right. Like, I guess you can't really throw in the towel yet, which I would think means go back to Anthony Richardson, let him play, see what you got.
Well, that's your guy. Once they find out you have an MVP ticket on, I'm sure we'll sway their thinking.
That's right.
But this isn't about Indianapolis. This is about Tennessee at Buffalo.
Yeah.
Buffalo, sight unseen. They got to be a touchdown favorite against the Titans. Will Levis is dreadful, dude. Will Levis has no accuracy.
It's bad.
Can't anticipate. He's just. There was a great tweet from somebody. I wish I could give credit because I can't remember who it was. But they said Will Levis. it had something to do with the fact that we're saying we was all about potential in the first place, but there was never anything to go on with that potential in the first place.
I mean, I think the other one, a couple of the others that I saw is, okay, you improved your coaching staff, improved your offensive weaponry, and somehow the quarterback is looking worse this year. That's got to be a major red flag.
But you didn't improve your coaching staff. It was Mike Vrabel. You should never have gotten rid of him in the first place.
Yeah, I think they meant offensive coaching, the offensive side.
Yeah, well, downgrade from the top. Buffalo -7, hosting Tennessee.
8.5.
I don't have a problem with that.
I don't either.
If it was anything below 7, I would have had a problem with that.
Yeah, I actually put them in a small teaser already with that side, the Bills.
All right. I usually say, oh man, I like way too much, but that's worked out okay the last couple weeks.
Yep.
So far, don't like much at all. Kind of like New England getting all those points against Jacksonville in London. We'll see. Many more games to get to. Week 7 in the National Football League. Guessing lines right here on a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
And they're off.
Sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup. Then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to VSiN.com/pro to join VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Are you the type of guy? Are you the type of player who's looking to get down $10,000 or more on an NFL line at the best price in the market? Or perhaps you're looking to get your in-game play instantly accepted. Introducing Sport Trade, the app that's going to change sports betting forever. Minus 104 lines instead of the typical minus 110. Instant in-game betting and a concierge player service. Sport Trade, perfect for those who want a premium betting experience. Sport Trade, live in New Jersey, Colorado, Iowa, and Arizona now. Coming to Virginia soon, the Commonwealth. Download Sport Trade, use code VSiN to earn 10% cash back on each wager in your first week. Terms apply. Got to be 21 years or older to play. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, good catch.
What?
Women could bet, too. That's right.
Yeah.
People could bet.
That's right. It says player.
Yeah, that's right. Player. Every time I hear the beginning of that read, I always think it's Are you the type of guy that likes to roam around? Are you the wanderer?
Oh,
however that song goes.
Oh, see, I was doing a LL Cool J. I'm the type of guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, that one went over my head. Everyone's head, I should say. Okay, let's go. Let's see if we can find some value. What do you got?
All right, Sunday early window, Bengals at Browns.
Bengals at Browns. Oh, the old classic.
AFC North battle we were all looking forward to before the season.
Man, this looked good on paper before the season. Did you see this game last night? While the Dodgers were blasting the Mets 9-0. Over there on old Sunday Night Football, the Bengals and Giants were playing, what's the opposite of a masterpiece? Yeah. First of all, first drive of the game, Cincinnati goes 8 plays, 69 yards. Burrow in from 47.
That was incredible.
And when I say in from 47, I want to say that the half the football field was abandoned by all humanity.
Yes.
And he just ran with everybody on the other side of the field. 7-0 Bengals, just 3.5 minutes into this ball game. And you're like, this is going to be a great game. Here's the rest of the first.
It was so bad, Gill. Like, someone asked me if that was a designed run for Joe Burrow.
No.
And I immediately laughed. Like, no. But then you see the replay, and it's like, in Joe Burrow's mind, he might have been thinking that way. Like, I'm taking off if all these guys go with him.
After a Giants punt and the Cincinnati 3-and-out. This is the only other interesting part of the first half was the Giants actually got it 1st and 10 at the Cincinnati 14. Daniel Jones shunned his first read, which was a dump off to Tyrone Tracy Jr. Instead, he waited too long. He was hit by B.J. Hill, ball high in the air, picked by Jermaine Pratt.
Yep.
Here's the rest of the half. You ready? Teams trade punts. Cincinnati 3-and-out. Teams trade punts. Teams trade 3-and-outs. Halftime. It's a very exciting game. Then in the second half, Giants go on 4th and 2, incomplete. Cincinnati is like, oh, wow, we're set up at the 26-yard line of the Giants, 1st and 10. Zach Moss hit by Okereke, fumbles. Micah McFadden recovers. Then the Giants do go 16 plays, 79 yards, and 6:45. They convert a 4th and 2 and a 4th and 1 along the way. PI in the end zone helped. Tyrone Tracy in from 1. We are tied at 7 with 5:48 left of the third quarter.
Get your popcorn.
First home. Is that the first home touchdown for the Giants this year?
Oh, man.
Is that detail correct?
I don't know.
Wow. Cincinnati got to 3rd and goal at the 1 now. Tie game, 7 apiece. Remember, the spread is what? Bengals -4 in this game?
Yeah, 3.5, 4. Wow, we even got 4.5. It closed it.
All right, so it's 7-7. Cincinnati got to 3rd and goal at the 1. A holding call negated a would-be touchdown, so they had to settle for McPherson 37-yard field goal. 10-7 Cincinnati, closing seconds of the third quarter. Then the Giants 4th and 1 at the Cincinnati 46. Jones snuck for the first down. What's the past tense?
Great. I was just thinking as you said it.
Snuck or sneaked?
It was a sneak play.
In this context, yes. Okay, so they get it, is what I'm saying. But they end up having to get a Joseph 47-yard field goal, a try. He misses. Remember, there's a new holder here. Jamie Gillen, the punter, couldn't be the holder here, so we had a different sort of, what do they call it in baseball, pitcher and catcher, battery.
Right, yeah.
Different holder.
Yep.
So it's still 10-7, but Giants got the ball back, 4th and 3 at the Cincinnati 36. Incomplete, intended for Slayton with 3:01 left in the fourth quarter, 10-7 Bengals. Now, if you're a Bengals backer, you're like, okay, this is probably not a good thing because 3:01 left in the fourth. I don't know if we're going to be able to matriculate the ball down the field and get a field goal. Maybe we will. Cincinnati ends up 3rd and 12 at their own 34. Burrow, a ridiculous against his body completion to Iosivas. Then the next play, Chase Brown fumbles. The Giants have every chance to recover, and they can't. It goes out of bounds. So this is the ultimate Plinko finish to this game. Next play, of course, what happens? Brown in from 30, 17-7 Bengals. It's just incredible, the Plinko-ness of this. Really, of all plays, if you're a Giants backer, you're like, he had to house it. Really? Yeah, he did. 17-7 Giants did the exact same thing Sean Payton did earlier in the day. They decided to kick the field goal first when they got into field goal range, but Joseph, with the different holder, misses the 45-yarder. Katie barred the door. It's over. Bengals win it 17-7, and somehow, after being just absolutely terrible in this game and giving the Giants, every time the Giants gave them a chance, the Bengals couldn't capitalize. Every time the Bengals would put the ball on the ground, here you go, take it, take this game. The Giants couldn't recover it, and then Chase Brown houses it. Bengals somehow cover 17-7 in victory. And then Cleveland. Cleveland actually looked a little, I don't even want to say they looked a little feisty. The reason they looked a little feisty is because they were able to tie this game at 10 apiece at the very end of the first half because Jake Elliott, up 10-3, had a 57-yard field goal try blocked by Myles Garrett, returned by Rodney McLeod, 50 yards to the residents.
Yeah.
10-10 halftime.
But it easily could have been 13-3, right?
Exactly. It ends up 13-13. Philadelphia, 4-play, 70-yard drive. Hurts to Devonta Smith for 45, 20-13, about halfway through the fourth quarter. Then Hopkins, 31-yard field goal after getting. Now, here's the thing. It's 20-13, Kelly. Now, if you have a chance to cut a one-score lead to a one-score lead, you always take that opportunity. But here's the thing. They ended up with a Hopkins 31-yard field goal after getting it to the Philadelphia 3, but then ended up with 2 false start penalties that sent them backwards. So with 3:54 left, Stefanski, and by the way, Deshaun was 6 of 6 on this drive, and he was 11 for 11 in the half at this point.
Was it 2 false starts or a delay at game and a false start? I thought there was a delay at game.
I thought it was 2 false starts. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, Stefanski decides, well, the 4th and goal now is way too long. I'm going to kick the field goal. They never saw the ball again. Philadelphia would run out the clock. Philly wins at 20-16, and that, by the way, is why there was no carnage in Survivor, because Philadelphia was easily the most picked team, and they just get by in this one. Philly is not good. Dallas is not good. Washington is the cream of the crop of the NFC East. Sorry, I had to get that in. A little editorial there.
Yeah, okay.
Was it Cincinnati at Cleveland?
Yep.
Okay, this is another one that's impossible to make this line. This is a brutal line. Both teams are god-awful. But the Bengals are a little less god-awful. But they can't be 3, right? I said Bengals minus 2.5.
You're a little light. It's 4.5.
Oh, I don't think they deserve that, do they?
I agree with you, but man, this is another one. You going with the Browns?
No, but I'm just saying 4.5. Listen, I'm not betting this game.
How is Deshaun Watson still a quarterback?
4.5 seems as random as my 2.5. It's an impossible game to make a line for. Cincinnati looked terrible last night. Giants might not suck, by the way. Giants are pretty. The
Giants are not bad.
Giants are not bad, so maybe I shouldn't say that. But Cleveland played Philly no worse than. Cleveland was. They were fine yesterday. They didn't get blown out. Let's put it that way.
They didn't get blown out.
And Deshaun Watson had his best half of football that he's had this year.
You're right about that half, but
4.5. I
struggle with that. Why is Jameis not in? Whatever, it was 1 half. He didn't do anything. He didn't win the game.
230 million reasons why. So it's Cincinnati minus 4.5. Wow, that's interesting to me. Okay. Want to do one more?
Yeah, let's do it.
Can we?
Texans at Packers.
Let's skip.
That's
pass.
a pretty tough one.
Pass. Let's go.
Pass. Dolphins at Colts.
Okay, we don't have to talk about that. That's easy. Miami, because Miami was on a bye, correct? And Indianapolis, we talked about having staved off the Titans 20-17. Flacco in victory. Joe Flacco, 22 of 38 for 189, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. He was not sacked. Man, who's the worst team in football? Is it the Titans? Is it the Browns? Is it the Dolphins? Sorry, Dolphins fans, but you're in the conversation.
Panthers.
And then there's the Panthers, of course. Indianapolis minus 3.
This is Colts 3.5.
Wow.
Wow. That's about the amount of excitement I have for it, too.
Even more disrespectful than I thought. Yeah. This one and the last one, I'm not, even though there's, perceived value, I'm not racing like I would the Patriots I like still better.
Are the Colts really 5-1 ATS? Wow.
Well, the expectation is so low on these lines.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised that they're 3-3 straight up.
Now, are we getting Tua? We don't know if we're getting Tua. What's the story?
I don't think we're getting Tua.
This is the last game where Tua is not allowed to play. I've lost count. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think. I mean, I haven't heard anything about Tua coming back anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, I'm just talking about the IR he had to miss 4.
Right, the IR window.
Yeah. Colts -3.5, a tick higher than I would have expected. We'll come back. More Sunday morning games, including the one we just passed over. Houston at Green Bay. Looking for value, Week 7 in the National Football League. That's how we do it. Right here on a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
In the heart of downtown Las Vegas, a sports oasis awaits. Stadium Swim, the ultimate outdoor amphitheater, built for the ultimate sports fan, with a colossal screen that brings the game closer than ever. Reserve a daybed, private cabana, or lounge in the center of it all. 6 pools to dive into as the game heats up. And the best part, there's never an off-season. Open 365 days a year. Stadium Swim, it's always spectator season.
Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard share their knowledge of sports, gambling, and pop culture on Follow the Money at a New Time.
Like, the guy can play football.
Yep.
And without him, we're talking about this team maybe being the worst one in the entire league.
On the bandwagon, I was high on this team, but my concern was this awful coaching staff.
They'll keep tabs on the big wins and bad beats from the night before. Plus, get you geared up for the action that's about to begin. Follow the Money, now at 4 p.m. Eastern, right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Back on a numbers game. Un partido de números. Someone tweeted in and said, don't listen to the juego, people. You're right, it's partido.
Oh.
Big Spanish wars on Twitter. If you're listening in Spanish, that's how it is. It's Gill Alexander. It's Kelley Bydlon trying to extract value. Guessing lines, Week 7 in the National Football League. A tradition unlike any other. We've been doing this for, I want to say like 12 or 13 years now.
Yeah.
Chrissy, my mashbucha, we miss you, of course. Pouring out a 40 for Chrissy. Not literally, just because he's not doing the show.
You're still alive.
we get tweets at Beating the Book. Jimmy Lopez, thank you, Jimmy Lopez. You're the guy who actually caught the reference. I'm the type of guy. Because are you who can't control your girl? Something like that. LL Cool J. Back in the mid-'80s. This is from Sly Bry, DJ Sly Bry. Thanks to Gill, I'm now stuck saying to myself, I do declare, like Foghorn Leghorn, every time an onside kick is declared in the NFL. Thanks, Gill. Appreciate it. It's because they use the word declare, and I've just imagined that they should have to say it like that.
See, I like the generational thinking because I always think if I hear the word declare, I think Michael Scott yelling, I declare bankruptcy.
Oh, no. I do declare. Rhodes, who has it worse, the Cowboys or the Jaguars? That's a great question. What you're referring to, I imagine, Rhodes, is the albatross that is the mega salary around their respective quarterbacks. And what that does is hamstring your salary cap moving forward. And so I don't know. The answer, I mean, again,
it's bad in both spots,
it's
man.
really bad. But this again, we've said it a million times on this show. This is the cruelty of the economics in the National Football League, where teams are forced at that point, once the rookie deal is over and it's coming to an end, they've got to decide, do we pay? Because the market means it's a 9-figure deal for these guys. Do we keep the guy we have, or do we start from scratch with a quarterback? And the problem is that you don't often know after those 4 or 5 years if that's in fact a guy that can lead you to the Super Bowl. Because remember, the only quarterbacks that lead you to a Super Bowl are what?
Hall of Famers and guys on rookie deals.
Who overperform their rookie deal. That's right. But if you have one of these tweener guys, like a Dak and like a Trevor and like a Cousins,
I'll still say I'll answer that question. I'd still much rather be the Dallas Cowboys than the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Just beyond that thing, though.
I mean,
as a franchise owner, yeah.
I'd rather have Dak over Lawrence, and I think there are, as much as we want to sit here and say the only thing that works with the Cowboys' offense is Dak to CeeDee Lamb, at least it works, right? They both might be overpaid, but at least it works.
Yeah. The problem is their general manager / owner. Matthew Mayberry, if the Giants recover that Brown fumble, I win my fantasy match. Instead, he scores a touchdown, and I lose for the second time this year on the last play of Sunday Night Football. Thanks, Drake London and Chase Brown. Matthew Mayberry speaking for every player who's ever played fantasy in any week where they get hosed. Angular Rhythm, Tom Steffen. Haven't seen a touchdown run like Burrow since Steve Bono's 75-yard touchdown run years ago. I still remember the offensive lineman 20 yards downfield looking for someone to block. That was incredible, Tom.
It was. I kind of laughed after it, at first too, but you're like, man, Burrow's got some wheels, and he looks like he is running as fast as he possibly can, and it was impressive.
Charlie D, USA #1. Gill, I was ready to yell out, I do declare in the Giants game last night, but they missed the field goal, LOL. And let me just say this. I got a tweet last night from somebody after that game. Was that the right move for them to kick the field goal, the Giants, to cut it to a one-score game, even though they missed the field goal? And I think just like in the Sean Payton, the Broncos game earlier, yes, it is the proper thing to do. The only calculus that the Giants the only way you get me off that is that you could say that we already saw that the Giants missed a field goal with the new holder earlier, and so maybe you don't. That's the only sort of counter argument. But if it's the same, if all things being equal, you absolutely cut it to one score at that point, because otherwise you'll waste all your time trying to get the first score, and then you have no chance whatsoever.
Man, Craig Joseph, only 3 for 6 beyond 40 yards this year.
Yeah. All right, let's go to early game still on Sunday.
Good one. Texans at Packers.
Ooh, that is a good game. That's a good game.
Real good game.
Texans, we didn't really talk about because there wasn't really much to talk about, but they took a big lead against New England. They just sort of traded touchdowns down the stretch. Stroud was 20 of 31 for 192 in that game, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Joe Mixon, 13 for 102 and a touchdown. They were +3 in turnovers.
Some running backs matter, Gill. Mixon being back's big, that's for sure.
Yeah, does matter. And then there's Green Bay. Green Bay wins yesterday easy peasy in their game against Arizona. Late first quarter, or actually, not late first quarter, but early first quarter, but a couple drives have already happened. Green Bay, 5 plays, 44 yards. Loved Jaden Reed from 5 out, 7-0 Green Bay. After a Arizona punt. Green Bay, 11 plays, 80 yards. Loved to Dobbs, Romeo Dobbs, that is, from 10, 14-0. Arizona 3 and out. Narveson would make a 36-yard field goal, 17-0. Arizona 3 and out. Then Green Bay, first play, Love to Watson, Christian Watson for 44, wide open. 24-0 Packers. At this point in the game, with 4:32 left in the second quarter, the first downs were 13-1, and the total yards were 251-34. That's not good. Anyway, you don't really need to know about the rest of the game. 34-13, the Packers would sort of cruise from there. I will say Green Bay by 3 and a hook. I'll say 3.5 over Houston.
On the other side, it is 2.5.
Ooh. Okay, I think I like the Pack then.
I think those are disappearing, though. 2.5, there are 3s out there.
Yeah, give me the 2. If I can find a 2.5, I'll bet the Pack.
I think you might need to be running to make that one.
My very pristine top 10 power rankings, which look beautiful from week to week these days, has both of these teams very high, but I'm a little higher on Green Bay at this point. Green Bay, like right now, if you said, okay, who's in the NFC Championship?
Yeah,
it's somewhere between. Minnesota fans are going to hate me for this.
I know.
But it's somewhere between the Niners, the Packers, and the Lions.
Yes.
And I think the Vikings Vikings and Washington are that tier right below.
Oh, I think Washington's another tier, but okay.
Below Minnesota?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll fight you on that. But I do, let's put it this way. I think the Lions, Niners, and Packers are the cream of the crop. Minnesota hasn't, there's no counter argument to Minnesota currently. I get it, but that's my hunch that those are the 3 best teams.
I agree with you.
And I just think Green Bay's now in the AFC. Houston's 5-1. There's not much bad you can say about them, but without Nico Collins, they look a little diminished to me.
Nico's
you wouldn't see it against New England, but I do feel that way.
Yeah, I have a feeling I'll be staying away from this one. Okay. I'm a little bit higher on Houston. I'm right there with you at Green Bay. I think without a doubt, Green Bay, as far as the good teams, Green Bay and Minnesota have been the most impressive on the season.
Let's do one more here.
All right, Lions at Vikings.
Oh, there you go. Well, we'll learn a lot here. Detroit crushes Dallas. Crushes them. 47-9. A game that the only thing that went right for Dallas early was after they were up 3-0 on an Aubrey field goal. Well, they were up 3-0 largely because on that drive, Dowdle caught a 15-yard. There was a 15-yard play to Dowdle, which deflected off another receiver.
Yeah, that was great.
And then Dak had an interception nullified by penalty.
Right.
So that's the only reason why they were able to get a 3-0 lead. Then it was all Detroit. Montgomery, great run in from 16. Goff to Tim Patrick for 42. 2 plays before that, 7-3. Dallas would matriculate, but 3rd and 5 at the Detroit 7. Dak was picked in the end zone by Brian Branch. It would get to 10-3 Detroit. Then a 3-play drive. Goff to Laporta from 52 off a flea flicker, 17-3. Later in this game, by the way, they tried to do a lateral to Penei Sewell, but that got nullified. It was 20-3, then 27-3, then 27-6 at the half. And it was just more of the same in the second half. 5 plays, 70 yards. Goff to Jamison Williams for 37 to make it 34-6. Then the worst part of the game for Detroit, I kind of buried the headline. It was a Pyrrhic victory for Detroit because at 34-6, this is in the fourth quarter, the second play on the ensuing drive, Aiden Hutchinson sacks Dak, but his leg sort of whipsaws against a teammate.
Yeah.
Gruesome breaking of the leg, carted off. And that was really kind of a pall over the rest of this game. Detroit ends up winning it 47-9, a 486 to 251 total yards advantage, plus 5 in turnovers. I left out a couple more turnovers by Dallas late. One on a Dak pick again to Brian Branch, one on a Cooper Rush pass that was picked by Kirby Joseph. Just plus 5 in turnovers. My God, 47-9. Detroit at Minnesota. These spreads are hard to make this week, some of these. I'll say a pick 'em. I don't know what else to say.
Vikings 2-point favorites.
Yeah, this should be interesting. I think I'm going to be on Detroit.
I did. So I've only made 2 bets so far. I brought up the Bills earlier as a teaser leg. I do that early if I'm going to make those involving a Monday night game, right? Obviously, they play tonight. I think you need to go a little bit lighter if you're going to make bets because injuries can happen.
Yeah.
But I did a Lions-Bills teaser. Teased up the Lions. Yeah. I was with you. I thought this would be a little closer to a pick 'em.
The Aiden Hutchinson thing is interesting because, again, we say that beyond quarterbacks, very few players in this league matter to a spread, and we don't really know the impact of him being out yet.
Yeah. He's having a great year, too. That was tough.
It's just terrible and gruesome and just awful. 2 good games, though. Man, Houston, Green Bay, and Detroit, Minnesota. Yeah. There you go. There you go, NFL. There's something. If that Houston Green Bay stays 2.5, I'm all over Green Bay. Coming back right here on the Numbers Game.
The only thing better than football is the excitement of all the contests.